boy, do I have a juicy conversation for you. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this, as there are so many nuances. All right, so remember how Jared Leto was real upset when Warner Brothers cast Joaquin Phoenix as a competing Joker? Well, I hear now it's Margot Robbie's turn to be upset, as Warner Brothers is quickly moving ahead with not just one new live-action Harley, but two! Let's discuss. So where will these new Harleys be? I think you can kind of guess one of them, and that's sure enough, Todd Phillips' just confirmed Joker sequel. The other one I hear is going to be in an upcoming Matt Reeves project. Now, I can't confirm which project, but I discussed it with my source on this, and I think the odds are that it's going to be that upcoming Arkham series for HBO Max. So it would really be Dr. Harleen Quinzel and maybe Barry Keoghan, his Joker, being a big part of the show as well, which would also make sense considering how popular that deleted scene was. I think people had mixed feelings about the deleted scene from the Batman, but it certainly got everybody talking. And I think the opportunity to really do a deep dive on the Mad Love storyline would be incredible. That's what it needs, a series, quite frankly. Oh, that would be fantastic. That would certainly be the spine of an Arkham series. And of course, they'd explore other patients and doctors, I'm sure, as well. That would make, to do Mad Love on HBO Max would make that show a slam dunk in terms of fan interest. Although I think this might not go the way Warner Brothers thinks it's gonna go, and we're gonna talk about that too. All right, but first, back to Phillips' Joker 2. Many of you guessed Harley Quinn would be in the film, not just based on the title, which is Folie à Deux, which translates to Madness of Two, which is it's a term for a shared delusion between two or more people who are closely associated. That is a fantastic title. Mwah! It's so sophisticated. I love it. And it works on multiple levels. You get the number 2 in there, Deux, right? Because it's a sequel. But then you're also, of course, talking, it's an actual term for medical, discussing mental illness. So that plays in perfectly. And it's an allusion to to the story, obviously, and maybe Harley Quinn. It could also, of course, mean Batman, as I first tweeted when they made the announcement. It could mean Joker's followers. And some of you thought maybe it would mean Willem Dafoe, who's been angling to get into the movie as another Joker, that there's more than one Joker. An idea that Jeff Johns, by the way, recently explored in the comics with the 3 Jokers. I thought that storyline was not good. It was I didn't like it. And I don't like the idea of multiple Jokers. It's only one Joker. Damn it. And so I don't like that idea at all. But many of you also pointed out that the colors of the script cover that Todd Phillips shared invoke Harley Quinn. And it seems you were right. Now today, fans are talking about Lady Gaga's mother following Todd Phillips on Instagram. You guys are really on top of this stuff. But my guess is that Lady Gaga and her team, which includes her mother, are lobbying for the Harley Quinn role. I'm sure Lady Gaga's mother is hoping that Todd Phillips noticed this as well. I'm sure she hoped that you would notice and talk about it and make a headline. Personally, though, I don't think Lady Gaga would make a great Harley Quinn. I'm sorry. I think she'd be a better Poison Ivy. But I'm, of course, open to seeing Gaga, what she can do, because I think she's an incredible actress. I thought she carried that whole Gucci movie on her shoulders. And I thought she made it work, until they made her not the main character anymore, which was so stupid because she was what was making it work. But anyway, Gaga is an alpha, while Harley Quinn is a famous beta. I know that acting is involved, but one of the things that makes someone a star is that they have a brand. And Gaga's brand is being an alpha. That self-confidence is an inspiration to so many people. I said that in the Gucci movie, when she just walked across that parking lot when we first meet her character, the way she just feels so comfortable in her own skin was like, inspirational. I was just so blown away by it. And that's not Harley at all. Harley needs to follow someone. She needs to be in a relationship. Harley Quinn does not like to work alone. And Gaga comes across to me as a loner, just like Poison Ivy is, which is why it's so powerful, of course, when Harley gets Ivy to open up. So I think Lady Gaga would be a tremendous Poison Ivy, and I think it would be a stretch for her to be Harley Quinn. Maybe she can do it, but I don't know if she would set herself up for a much more difficult path. Do any of these shows need a Poison Ivy? Where's Poison Ivy, damn it? I think the age of Poison Ivy is just starting to begin, although the new comic they just put out was awful. All right, and I'm a big Poison Ivy fan, so someday the age of Poison Ivy will begin. Now, adding drama to this situation, of course, is that Margot Robbie infamously tried to get Lady Gaga to join Birds of Prey, but Gaga turned her down flat. So now Gaga is coming after Robbie's own role? That is very aggressive. That's alpha behavior. Let's also not forget that Kaley Cuoco already voices another version of Harley Quinn, quite successfully, with that show returning for a third season later this summer. Not that many people watch it because it was on DC Universe, but I'm hoping with this third season, more people tune in because that's an incredible show. And that, by the way, finally established Harley Quinn not only is broken up with the Joker, they did such a good job with that, but as a couple with Poison Ivy, which they also did an incredible job with. They took a season to do both things. One season to break her up with the Joker, one season to put her with Poison Ivy. And it was so popular and so well received, that show, so I guess some people did watch it, that DC Comics, which had been sidestepping Harley and Ivy's relationship, even though that's what Paul Dini said he intended from the moment he put them together in the animated series, that they would be a couple, a romantic couple, DC Comics has finally embraced Harley and Ivy as a couple. Harley Ivy, that's their celebrity couple name. And they've made them their top LGBT couple. And they've been a big part of Pride celebrations. And I think it's really beautiful the way their love story is shown in the comics recently, now that DC Comics has embraced it and is finally telling those stories. Side note, though, I think going back to Harley Quinn's roots at this point and her toxic relationship with the Joker might seem a little odd to fans, as so much time and effort has been put in all the mediums across the board, comics, TV, movies, to get her out of that relationship. I think people might be like, what? Like, we're back to the start after all that character exploration and evolution? I think that might be a problem that Warner Brothers is not considering. Back to the new animated series, as you might recall, Warner Brothers actually wanted Margot Robbie to voice the character. But Robbie apparently turned it down, leaving an opportunity for Cuoco to win over fans as the character, which she did. You might also recall that when it was announced they were doing an animated Harley Quinn series, I said Margot Robbie should definitely do the voice. I said she should pull a Robert Downey Jr. and not let anyone else near that character. Of course, on What If, that someone else voiced Tony Stark, Iron Man, I think because right now Robert Downey Jr. is taking a break from the MCU because his character was killed off. But for a while there, he was fiercely protective of his territory. And I said Margot Robbie should do the same, and she'd not only potentially allow another actress to win over fans as the character, but set a precedent for other actresses playing Harley. And that's exactly what she did. Also contributing to this situation is continued poor box office for Robbie's Harley, from Birds of Prey to James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I mean, I think that Suicide Squad did okay, but it did not do the level of, what Harley Quinn should do, considering how popular the character is in other places. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn certainly has fans, who I'm sure are angrily typing at this moment. And they're very devoted, and I think they'll make life difficult, unfortunately, for any other actresses who try to take on the role. I've already seen some of them very aggressively trying to fight this back. But Margot Robbie's Harley has not set fandom on fire since she was first introduced for David Ayer's Suicide Squad way back in the day. It's not been there. I think there's definitely room for improvement from a business perspective. Again, the box office on Birds of Prey and James Gunn's The Suicide Squad just aren't where they should be for a character that's supposed to be that popular. As for Robbie, she's got a very full dance card already. You don't have to worry about her. Don't cry for Margot Robbie. She's Barbie, or one of actually several Barbies in the upcoming Warner Brothers movie. She's the one that they're launching off with, but they should reveal the other Barbies hopefully very soon, especially because it leaked. Warner Brothers also has her set for an Ocean's prequel, and Disney wants her to take over the Pirates franchise. I mean, I think right now she has to be a little bit concerned about being overexposed. Although let's see. If I were her, I would drop out of Pirates. After what happened with Johnny Depp and how people are rallying behind him, I would not want to take over his franchise without him. I mean, she should insist that he be in the movie if she's actually going to do that. But anyway, I think she's taken Harley as far as she can, and she should focus on finding another big character that maybe she can blow up to be as big as it should be. I mean, Harley Quinn has not turned out to be her Indiana Jones. It just hasn't worked out that way. I was going to say Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, but that didn't work out either. Warner Brothers. All right. Now, I do think 2 more Harleys, in addition to Kaley Cuoco's, is too many, right? I do not see how Todd Phillips can tell a Joker Harley story at the same time that Matt Reeves is telling one over on HBO Max. I mean, that's crazy to me. As I've also said before, it doesn't do either group, characters or actors, any favors because it splits the fandom and pits them against each other instead of trying to get all of them behind one version of this story. Like, why have that infighting? Why create that? Marvel doesn't do it. Even with the multiverse, they still haven't done that. At least not yet. There's also, again, the issue of plunging, as I said, plunging the character back into a toxic, male-defined, heterosexual relationship after doing so much work along the narrative of freeing her from that relationship to put her in a really healthy LGBT relationship. I think some fans are understandably going to be extremely upset about this. I don't even know how I feel about it at this point, because at first I was against breaking her up from the Joker. I was like, what is Harley Quinn if not, the Joker's girlfriend? But the first season of Harley Quinn, the animated series, did such a beautiful job exploring why that relationship was toxic that it's just crazy to me to see her go back into it at this point. I mean, part of me does want to see what Todd Phillips does with the character, but I don't think he can do an exact Mad Love storyline because Harley's just come so far. I mean, again, it begs the question: how many people have been exposed to Harley in the mainstream, in the general public? They probably don't even know her from the comics and the original animated series. How well is Harley Quinn known? But the foundation for any comic book character in any of these mediums is the fandom, and so you have to have the fandom on board, as many series have learned. And I don't know if fans really want to go back to this. I would prefer to see an exploration of her with Ivy, quite frankly. That's what I think everybody wants. And, DC Comics has gotten on board, the animation division has gotten on board, but the film division still will not do that, which is a shame. So we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll explore it in the television show, but maybe she'll have a relationship with Poison Ivy on that show, and they'll switch it around to her. Because, in the animated series, she knew Ivy when she was in Arkham as well. That would be interesting. A love triangle? Okay, I'd kind of like that. I hope they keep this stuff in mind. Ivy has to be a very big part of any Harley Quinn story anybody's telling these days. All right, but I would also say, so far, new DC films seems an awful lot like old DC films. They can't hire a new head of DC films fast enough because they are charging ahead with their same old and making a lot of the same mistakes. So, I mean, and again, it's all about creative freedom, but they're really hurting themselves. All right, so what do you think of a Phillips Harley, a Todd Phillips Harley, of a Reeves' Harley? And also, do you think Margot Robbie's Harley still has some stories left to go? Or do you think that character's run its course, that version of the character? And do you think Lady Gaga would make a good Harley Quinn? Share those thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.